Welcome, everybody. Brother Dan Goodwin here, Prosperity News. Got here in the studio my guest, Brother Michael Smith, Michael Samuel Smith. What a name that is. Brother Mike, good to have you here with us.
Thank you, Brother Goodwin. I appreciate very much the invitation to be
All
here.
right.
I'm extremely honored.
Well, this is just a brief update. I want to let you all know what's coming on the next TV program coming your way. We're going to be talking to Brother Smith here about his brand new DVD. It's called The Cyrus Effect. If you can see that, I'm trying to get the glare off it there. The Cyrus Effect. This is over 2 hours long. There's actually 2 sessions on it, but we're mainly going to talk about the first one, The Cyrus Effect. It's over 2 hours. And Brother Mike, you're from Texas, right? About 3.5 hours from here.
Right, I live in Arlington, Texas.
Arlington?
Yes, that's
Arlington,
right between Fort
Texas.
Worth and Dallas.
Okay, so
Yes.
You drove up last night. You and I got to spend some time at the hotel.
Yes.
We did a live stream on my God's Final Jubilee program. I came to his hotel room, drove all day, got into Oklahoma City, got to the hotel room, and got my camera, my tripod, and my coffee. And going down the hall, I had to go up the stairs. You were on the second floor.
Yes.
I had to go up the stairs. I didn't take the elevator. Went up the stairs, down the hall, found his room. I got all this stuff in my arms. Now, don't get ahead of me here, but I got all this stuff in my coffee, and I'm trying to knock on his door, and the coffee, down it went. Down my shirt, my pants, my shoe, all over the floor, all over some of my papers. And I have some of those papers right here with me in this folder, and they still got coffee stains on them. But I knocked on your door, and you opened the door, and you said, "Who is this quack coming to my room looking like this?" And but anyway, make a long story short, we did a live stream in there for I think we went 40 minutes.
Okay.
But talking about this DVD. So coming up in the next program, I got Brother Mike here. And we've got an exciting program. In fact, I think we're going to do 2 weeks in a row with you about this DVD, The Cyrus Effect. So real quickly, Brother Mike, tell them what this is about. What is this DVD about, The Cyrus Effect?
Well, we wanted to do a film where we really would show God's purpose in how he is keeping his promise with his Hebrew people and Israel as well. We wanted to do a program where we show points of history. As a matter of fact, this is a historical film. So not only are we talking about King Cyrus and many of his comparisons to Donald Trump, but we also going to points of history such as 1917, what happened, 1948, 1967, the 67 Six-Day War. And, when Donald Trump made that announcement on the 6th of December, 2017, that he would move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, obviously that was a huge deal.
That was huge.
The next day, Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, he had a news conference at the International Ministry, and he gave a speech, and he said, he talked about the Balfour Agreement. He talked about the formation of Israel in 1948. He talked about 1967. And he also talked about Donald Trump. And there are several times that Mr. Netanyahu compared Donald Trump to King Cyrus, who lived 2,500 years ago.
Well, let's stop you right there with the 2,500 years. Some of the listeners might not be real familiar with King Cyrus. Just in a minute or two, tell us who Cyrus was in the Bible.
Well, 2,500 years ago, you may recall the prophets such as Isaiah and Jeremiah. They had warned Israel. God had told Israel through the prophets that because of their apostasy, that they would go into captivity. And Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 11 says very plainly they would go into Babylon into captivity literally for 70 years, right? And, of course, that ended up happening. And, of course, the northern kingdom went first, and then later the southern kingdom, Jerusalem and so forth, went second. And so Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, captured Jerusalem in 586 BC and took all the Jews captive. So they're 70 years. At the end of the 70 years, God started talking to his people through the prophet Daniel and so forth. Daniel knew the 70 years is just about up. And I got to go back about King Cyrus that earlier, in fact, before the 70 years, in fact, 140 to 150 years before King Cyrus was even born,
Right.
the Bible tells us in Isaiah chapter 45, God said his name would be Cyrus,
Right.
and he would make a proclamation and release the Jewish people and to allow them to go back to their nation and rebuild the wall and rebuild their temple that was totally destroyed with Nebuchadnezzar years earlier.
And you make a connection with that in the DVD about that number 40, Isaiah 45.
Yes.
Isn't Donald Trump the 45th
He
president?
is the 45th president
Isn't
of the
that
United
just a
States.
strange coincidence, right? It doesn't mean nothing.
You can see God's hand in all of this, obviously.
So Cyrus, to make a long story short, is the guy who is the Medes and the Persians. He's the Persian king who overtakes Babylon when Belteshazzar, or whatever his name was, remember, he sees the handwriting on the wall.
Daniel chapter 5.
Right.
Right.
So it's Cyrus and his armies that come down through the sewers and the tunnels, and they overtake Babylon, and Cyrus is going to be the one that helps Israel get back in the land.
That's correct. And so how does King Cyrus do this? He drains the swamp.
Right.
He redirects the Euphrates River that flows underneath Babylon. This is the greatest empire on planet Earth.
Now, wait a minute. Drain the swamp. Are we talking about Trump or are we talking about Cyrus?
We're talking technically about both.
That's right. Isn't that something?
Technically about both.
Trump's slogan, drain the swamp,
right,
goes right back to Cyrus. Now,
That's
in
correct.
Israel, don't they have signs out? Aren't they calling Trump Cyrus in Israel?
They are. They are. And as a matter of fact, there is a transportation station they're going to name after President Trump over there, and his name's all over the place. And of course, everybody in Israel, I mean, it's just common knowledge, they associate Donald Trump with King Cyrus.
Now, folks, I know a lot of people don't like Mr. Trump, but Israel likes Mr. Trump. And I think God put him there for such a time as this.
He did.
I told people 2 years ago, I don't believe God gave Trump to us to save America. I believe Trump was placed in office for the purpose of Israel.
Yes.
And real quickly before we go, and we're going to get into this in the TV program. You won't want to miss it. We got a whole bunch of stuff. We'll never get to talk about everything that I want to talk about, but this is a great DVD. There's actually two. There's another session on here called "The Revival of the Modern Hebrew Language," and we'll talk about that in the next program. But the Cyrus effect. It shows the similarities between King Cyrus of old and Trump today, and it's amazing. Real quick before we go, share some of those sevens that you have there that are in the DVD.
Well, folks, listen to this. When Mr. Trump won the election in November 2016, he won by 77 electoral votes, and that was after there were 7 defectors. Next, he won the election, and his inauguration was literally in the Hebrew year 5777. His first marriage was on the 7th of April, 1977. His first child that was born, Don Jr., was born in 1977. Donald Trump is the 7th president from the state of New York. He was born on June 14th, 1946. And 700 days later, to the day after he was born, Israel became a nation. Also, he made Person of the Year on December 7th, 2016. And when he won the election, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, had been in office for 7 years and 7 months. And lastly, the day Mr. Trump became president, in other words, the day he had his inauguration, which was January 20th, 2017, he was 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old to the day.
That's just amazing. Folks, that's all in the DVD. It's over 2 hours long. Just the first program alone is, I think it's an hour and
24 minutes.
4 minutes, so a little over 2 hours. All that's in there. There's stuff about General Allenby and the taking of Jerusalem in 1917, and there's just so much in here. I was captivated. I loved it. By the way, high quality HD, very well done, very good quality audio, everything, video. It's on the website. Prophecy News has them. You can get them right now. Just go to the website or call the 800 number on your screen during business hours, and you can order it right now from Prophecy News. And listen, we'll see you next time. Don't forget the program coming out this week. I have Brother Michael with me. The next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about Donald Trump. We're going to be talking about some amazing things that have happened and why we believe, and of course, Brother Michael here believes and did a DVD about the fact that Trump is a type of Cyrus of old, and you're going to learn some amazing facts and some amazing things in history that have happened. So don't forget, watch the program, tell your friends about it, and remember, keep looking up.